Hello, everyone. Hello. So yeah, uh, I've decided to record the video this time, and I feel like it's going to be better to explain things, as quite a lot of things is happening at the moment. Uh, and yeah, before I start, I want to say that this is not a financial advice and that trading is associated with risks, etc. Right. So we might have very nice opportunities in front of us. By opportunities, I mean is that there might be very nice buys on bitcoins, on, and overall markets also going down a bit. Agenta for today will be like I will start with S&P 500 as it's quite the most important thing where this goes because whenever the S&P 500 goes, if it goes up, Bitcoin will also go up, right? If it's going to go down, Bitcoin will also follow and also will go down, right? Regarding the interest rate and Fed meeting, is that the Fed did say that in the next meeting for the interest rates, they will be actually loosening the the policy. So they will reduce the interest rates, which can be taken as two things. First thing is that the loan will be cheaper, and when the loan is cheaper, basically there is more money in the market, in the system, so the stocks can grow further. So this is one thing, but there is also a second thing, which is as important as the first one, is that loosening the policy for the interest rates may generally mean that the markets are getting weaker, that the markets are getting weaker, and that the U.S. government is basically trying to save it, and they will- they always okay. Nobody wants to crash, right? So they want to save it, and they loosen the policy so the companies can take the loans, and that the money can get into the market. But this could also mean that we're getting close to a recession or something, right? Because if they won't be able to save it, then will eventually crash. But as for today, it's really hard to say whether it's going to go up or down. Uh, and yeah, so starting with S&P 500, of course, we always look if there is a logarithmic chart. We are in a very strong uptrend. We can even mark it like this. It's a very strong uptrend to the upside. It's also above the 200 moving average, and this is a monthly chart. Just to say, this is a monthly chart, right? And yeah, we had these moves up down, now recently up down. We rose over 63%, which is really good in 2 years. And yeah, Now when we look at the weekly, what we essentially did is we topped over there, right? And then we went to the bottom. Okay, so we topped, we went to the bottom, and we went to the support that was over there, that is over there, and then we obviously went up and didn't break the new highs. And this is a bit alarming because if the market goes up, down, up, and then it fails to break that high, it basically means that it has to attack the other side of the trend. And on the monthly, we basically see a candle like this, which is small body, a long shadow, and a candle like this, which is right. So like I said, small body, a long shadow. Usually it's a reversal. So it often means that the next candle, so the candle that is over there, will fill all of the shadow, right? And then maybe reverse, or but usually it tends to fill all of it. If not all, maybe stop somewhere like there, right? So it looks like it's looking a bit more to the downside, right? But it could also mean that we're going to attack this level over there, okay, because we failed to break new highs, and this is monthly, okay. So if we go to the weekly, we can see, like I said before, that we were doing these moves, right? A very visible moves, and now we failed to make a new high. So the next level to the next level of liquidity is basically here, okay. So we have this marked level. It's very possible that the price go down here, but it doesn't mean it can reverse and continue further, because we are still in an uptrend. On a weekly chart, we are also above this 200 moving average, and if we look to the past, it's whenever it's above, we should be doing okay. So this is on the weekly. So there's definitely more to go, right? So let's check daily now. And yeah, on a daily, we see the same like before. So it failed to make a new high from that here. So we should really be aiming maybe to buy on this level, that level, or maybe a bit lower, maybe a bit there. Yeah, so these lines, these also orange lines that you can see here, is basically the quant snipe. It's an indicator that I have created myself, and it basically shows buys or sells. So if you want to buy, good buys would be like on these particular levels, right? uh, so I would definitely be looking into those levels. I think this one is a very strong support if we go that low, but this makes total sense. uh, Actually, even this one, right? So yeah, we could actually make it till that. Yeah, so I think this is a very good place to buy. If it go that low, I don't know if it goes that low, but it could, it definitely could. And yeah, so these are the levels I would be watching. And yeah, it's tough to tell whether it's gonna go down here and then go up, or whether it's going to continue down, right? Uh, but we never know whether it's going to go up or down, so we just buy at very nice levels. And these are the levels I will be buying on the S&P 500. I already bought a very big chunk over there, mostly Shopify, right? So this is Shopify. Mm, so I bought it 51.50. So I bought it there. Yeah, if someone wants to get in on that trade, then 55.2. It's a nice buy. It's a nice buy. Otherwise, these levels are totally good as well, right? But yeah, uh, I'll just do a screenshot of it. There are more levels to that, and we could obviously draw them further, but I think for now these two are the most important ones. And yeah, possibly that one, but yeah, let's not think, because it's quite far off from current prices. So yeah. All right. So this is how the S&P 500 looks like. We can't really say if there's. I think it's not yet time for the recession. I think we still have a bit more time, but you never know. Okay, so general stocks. Okay, and cool. So yeah, now let's go move to the Bitcoin. So this is Bitcoin, and Bitcoin really much followed the rest of the market. So it basically acted the same way as S&P 500. And regarding Bitcoin, I would first want to look through the long-term view, and then to a short-term view, and potentially look for some bargain opportunities to buy it. Um, yeah. So First of all, I want to say that global liquidity is basically rising, and uh, well, this data is from March, but it was basically rising since since 2022. So this is good sign, because if there is more liquidity, obviously there is more reason why people then put money in Bitcoin or other assets, right? Mm, so I'm basically bullish just for the fact because the global liquidity is rising. Bitcoin is still popular. Bitcoin got the ETF in United States that year, so everything's looking good from that point of view. Uh, And then if we look further, we also have like Bitcoin addresses, and this can be like 0.01, 0.11, 10, etc. And we can also see that it's basically been rising and rising. Now it rose even further, right? It's further than the last year. Here's a bug. It's kind of a bug for sure. So it didn't go that low. And yeah, there are more addresses with 1 Bitcoin or zero point 0.1, right? It basically means that there are more people coming. Well, not people, because one person could have two balances, and that's one person. But basically, it's increasing. So we can assume that there's more people coming to the system, right? All right. Uh, the next one is stock to flow model, and I highly recommend reading about that one. Uh, it's the guy created it. It's Plan B, and basically uh, tells the asset how scary is the asset. So scarcity. Mm, and it could predict so far very nice movements and the price predictions. And currently the model tells us that we could expect somewhere like 440 price by 2025. I think it's a bit too high. I don't think we go that high, but possibly, because why not? Because Bitcoin is now an an institution asset, so why wouldn't it go to 414? So it's very possible. However, I think a very conservative number would rather be close to 140 or 240. Okay, so somewhere in the middle. Uh, so this also is looking bullish. We are very in very strong move ahead of us. Um, we're just doing an accumulation basically since March, right? It's all an accumulation. And yeah, the last chart when it comes to a long-term view is bull market comparison. So here you can see all of different bull markets. Now we are in 2024. Yeah, since 2021 we basically rose very quickly, very aggressively, right? So that's now we're a bit of accumulations or stagnation, you name it. And it could take, for example, a bit more further. Let's say It's day 189, and this is 144, right? So we could be stagnating or accumulating for 45 more days, and then possibly just slowly climbing, right? Because this chart also will be not going like those, it's going to get a bit lower like there. Uh, and I think we'll see something like a green chart. So that we will go a bit like this and then drop very deep, and then we will begin a second move to the upside, right? And this is how I think it's gonna happen, similar to the green one. Maybe it's going to be like a blue one, who knows? Maybe completely different, right? Because it doesn't need to look like this. But yeah, it basically tells us that we're still in a bull trend in a long-term view. So just to tell you, this top in 340 days is around April, and this is around October 2025, right? So April 2025, October 2025. This is the dates where you should potentially start selling, more or less, right? As this could be the final cycle end. So this is from the long-term view, and now we can go to the charting, and yeah, the charts for Bitcoin are also not looking quite good since last month. But there's also nothing yet to worry, because we are still in an uptrend here from a technical point of view. And we can mark our previous highs first, which are those levels, and mark this level, because this one is very important to us. And throughout most of the time, the candles over here were above that level, which is great, which was great, because that's really good that it was an accumulation above it, right? And that it could potentially move further. However, now we see, after last month, that one, it basically really went really deep and then tried to recover, and it somewhat closed above, because it did not close below that high, but it somewhat closed below. And like I said previously, it has small body and long shadow, right? So we expected the next candle to go like this, but now question is, of course, what's next? And yeah, this drop below these two levels is a bit alarming, and but in the long term, everything looks bullish to me. So we should really be not careful, like we should don't care about what's happening over there, because this is all like the games of the institutions. They're basically trying to get as much Bitcoin as possible, and either way, yeah, we previously had a very nice buy at this level. So I was saying it right from on the June 16, right, and we had an average entry 5 to 500. Okay, let's mark it down. 5 to 500. Okay, so this was our average entry, and that's okay. That's okay. We bought it very low. We don't really need to worry about that. But there might be possibilities that Bitcoin could drop lower, right? And we want to catch that move if it goes down, because yeah, the problem on Bitcoin here is that we were buying here, and what I wanted to see is to break that level, right, and be above. I even said it. Uh, Somewhere. Not there. But yeah. Um, Somewhere else. Uh, but we failed to break it, and because of that, we are still below that 200 day moving average. So we could possibly go lower, and I will also explain further why we could see lower prices. Also because of the S&P 500, right? But also because of the liquidations. But I will be back to it in a very second. Okay, so this is our entry. Previous entry, right? And yeah, we should now watch for new buys. We could possibly buy it at this area because like this is also a very feasible option to go like this, right? It's definitely possible. However, I think I think we'll go a bit lower because S&P 500 also looks to me like it needs at least to clear maybe like that low, so go like there at least to that level, maybe lower, right? So I think we'll see lower on Bitcoin, also because of that reason. So we should mark the levels where we should buy, and of course let's mark the QuantSnipe levels. So these are the orange buys that my indicator shows, and yeah, and then we'll proceed to with the liquidity map and see if these actually make sense and if we can somehow make it better. Uh, Here, by the way, here I can show you how banks play with the people, because it's here. It's very visible. So banks, what the banks do is basically, right, play here with you, then quickly up, grab the liquidity from above, and quickly down, grab the liquidity from below, and then move to the upside. It's a very common pattern. Up, down, up. Very, very common. Of course, you could reverse it, and it could be also very valuable, right? So we could, for example, go first down, up and then down, right? uh, just something for you to have in mind. But yeah, so these are the levels. Level 4 there is over there, and let's mark it as well. Let's mark it once. And yeah, so these are the levels we could be buying, and I think they're very strong. They're very strong because this is the move from the, this is like a wave, so one wave down, right? And this is like accumulation before breaking that previous high. So this one is very strong, very strong. A lot of banks have entered the position here, especially like I showed you. So they will not let the price go lower than that. I see it very hardly to see that the price goes below. We're also above the 200-day moving, which acted very nicely as a support. And yeah, all right, so now we have those levels marked. I will clean this, our entry previous, because we don't need it. We can keep that one. And look at the liquidity. And when we look at the liquidity, we can see a very big chunks on the left side and a very big chunk on the right side. And we are much closer with a price to the left chunk. So I think the market will go toward that direction, so towards 30,000, 40,000, I mean 40,000, and he will find a support, and they will try basically to grab all of that liquidity from the left side, so towards the 40k. And yeah, let's check whether it makes sense in the current levels that I've marked. So what you want to look for is basically like a big chunks of liquidity, so the bigger the better, and then like very little, because if there is no liquidity, there will be no capital to move the price. And if we take a look at that QuantSnipe level, it's marked at 45,600, right? 45,600. So it marked at that level. I think it could be better to set it maybe around 45. So a bit lower. I would set it even lower. Okay, so on 4 hours it shows there. Yeah, but 45 should be totally fine based on the liquidations. Okay, so we a little bit adjusted that level based on the liquidations, and that's okay. What else we see? 40,800, right? So that would be somewhere here, which is good because there's a lot of small candles, so that's totally fine. And then the lowest is 38,400, 38,400, so a bit after that chunk of liquidation, right? So we could even move it to 600. That's yeah, because here you see it's like a small move to the downside. But there might be a better level as well. And what I basically usually look like is I want to clear all of it, right? It doesn't need to, but it happens quite often. So maybe around, see, so this is very like super low and it grabs all of that liquidation. So maybe like 42,000 and we could mark it like 42,000 then, right? And set it as for like silver, maybe wait, it's here. So we know that it's our ultimate buy. And yeah, so these orange lines are basically based of the liquidity, and we could very much now mark this area like this, so we know where to buy. And we set it by area. And guys, an important information is that it will here what's gonna happen here, it's basically gonna be someone like this, right? So very move to the downside, very fast move to the downside, and very fast move to the upside. So you can't wait until the price goes down there, okay? You have to have their waiting orders already for buys, because you will not be able to catch it manually. It needs to buy automatically, okay? And and the purple thing, okay? The purple thing is our snipe, like I call it, like a snipe entry. So it would somewhat will look like the bottom of this, all right? So maybe it basically goes like this, right? So this is our snipe entry, but it doesn't need to go like this, okay? It can go like here and then go up. That could go lower or even lower and then go up, right? But this is our buy area. It's a very good buy area. It's very cheap. I don't think you can have a better buys for Bitcoin. It's a very strong support. And I can show you it's very strong because also on the weekly, right, we have this 200-day moving average. So what we have here, right, we have 200 moving average, we have that institutions that bought there. So what we have there at the Bay Area is what actually we can say is cluster of supports, and we can even draw a trend line if you want, right? But I can tell you already that it will go below the trend line, because trend line are also the liquidity. But yeah, this is cluster of supports, so it's a very strong buy area, and I will definitely be buying somewhere there. I don't know if Bitcoin or of other altcoins, but this is very good buy area. But I don't know if it will maybe go up from here, or maybe it's gonna continue like this for a while and then go up, right? Or maybe it will drop and then will only continue. I can't really say, but I think this option is very possible with current day. And one of the reasons why it might be happening, I can tell you one thing that I also like is from that guy is that chart, and that is basically Bitcoin and gold, and it basically shows how gold was behaving and how Bitcoin was behaving. And we have to remember that since this year, okay, Bitcoin is institutional asset. So, and gold is also an institutional asset. So we have the same players moving quite the same asset, because Bitcoin is quite very similar to gold. The stock to flow model is also applicable to gold, silver, and also Bitcoin, right? So here we can see how gold moved and how it was grabbing this liquidity. So here, look, it first grabbed the liquidity from above, and then it grabbed the liquidity from the bottom, then obviously moved to the upside. And here, on the other hand, we grabbed the liquidity from the bottom. We didn't grab the liquidity from the top. Okay, so it's a bit different. We didn't, maybe the markets were just too weak. It doesn't need to, it does not always need to, right? But what I think is that they will do one more drop to grab all of that liquidity over there and all of the liquidity over there, and make it a bit further to the downside, and only then move it to the upside. It would make total sense. That's how Bitcoin behaved, right? Of course, here on the chart, it ends over there, but it doesn't need to end over there. It can be a little bit longer because it's based on the liquidation, and Bitcoin is a bit more liquid than gold. So it can definitely grab the liquidations to the bottom, and that would be basically the same move as basically gold. It's basically the same. So this is why I also think Bitcoin might go a bit further to that our 45, 38,000 area. So yeah, my recommendation is to to don't overthink and to really buy there. And of course, those who bought there is also a good buy, because now if we gonna buy it to the bottom, right? If we gonna buy it there, this buy is okay, because if we buy it here as well, right? Then our entry will not be like 5500, 500, right? It's going to be more like this, right? Because we also bought it like there, and we also bought it like there. And this is a very nice entry as well, okay? And we still didn't miss it. So it also makes sense to do it like so. And those who didn't catch this move for whatever reason, this I think this might be their last chance to grab it before it will move to the upside. And yeah, I think I covered it all. Uh, be safe. The markets are looking really suspicious. I really hope we don't start the crash yet, but even if it's going to be a crash, it's going to be rather a quick recovery. So I wouldn't be worried too much. It wouldn't be like a bear market for 1 year or so. I don't think so. We're at that stage yet. And yeah, all right. Thank you guys, and I'm very sorry for late analysis, but I've had so many things on my head, and yeah, with renovation, my flat, and etc. Right. I hope it helps for you, and good luck.